Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be discussing chapter 299 of My Hero Academia that came out Sunday. I'm a bit late, but I'm trying to spread out how I drop the videos. So I'll probably at the end of the video say how I plan to do this. But yeah, before we get into the chapter, spoiler warning on the screen right around here somewhere. Right here. Somewhere right here. Um of course we're going to be discussing the chapter as we go through it, and I'll give my review at the end and what I thought of the chapter. So yeah, let's begin. So this chapter, in essence, was a Hawks based chapter. Hawks, very Hawks centric, that is. We get more of his backstory, in this chapter. And we see when Hawks was a little kid, we get a little flashback with his parents that he was in this very poor house, poor household, that is. And basically, his father was a criminal, which Darby said before. And he killed a guy over some spare change in the past. And basically, before Hawks was born, his mom harbored his father as a fugitive. So she kind of got a bad rap for doing that. So she didn't want do anything else. And it looked like the father was very abusive to maybe her as well. So she stayed. Um, but yeah, then we get that while harboring him as a fugitive, Hawks was born basically. Um, and of course, his father is trash. So Hawks was abused and beaten and whatever. So we get little clips of these throughout his flashback. But one of the things we do notice is at one point, Hawk felt a tingly sensation in his wings and left home to go to town. And then it stopped, sorry, and decided, you know what, he don't need to go to town to see a doctor or anything like that. So he came back home. This is where we see that his father was abusive, because we see Hawks reaching for his little Endeavor plushie, and his father kicked him and told him, don't turn your back to me. So yeah, that's how we get that, he was abusive. Then we see later on in the chapter as we are going through that, um, Hawks um, loved Endeavor. He was a hero to him basically because he saw Endeavor doing heroic stuff. Um, so he basically, to him, it was like the shining light in his dark life at that point. Get it? Endeavor is fire, shining light. Yeah. Um, but yeah, we see that Hawks is fun. Sorry about that. Um, so yeah, we see that Hawks' dad was eventually arrested, and his mom fled, of course, because she did not want to be caught and put to jail as well. So we get a glimpse of them leaving, and then a train station, it looks like, or a mall or something. And basically, his mom is abusive too. She was like, "You're nothing like your father. You're not earning money. You're not stealing." But in doing all that, we see remember, Hawks was recruited as a young one to join the secret agency, kinda, to be like, I would compare it to like in Naruto, how there's the Anbu and there's the secret organization to do all the low, behind the scenes, dirty missions. So yeah, that's the organization that came to Hawks, and basically they bought him in a sense because they told his mom, would pay for you and erase your criminal record and give you money and put you in a house and see about your family. Just give us your son. And she agreed. So that's how we see, Hawks, how he got recruited into that training program that Darby mentioned previously. We then get a jump forward to now. It seems some time has passed now since the war that happened. It looks like the world is at the moment back to some semblance of normal. The villains and causing much chaos at the moment. So we see Hawks and Best Genius in his kind of Batmobile car. Because Best Genius is Batman. Calling it now, Best Genius is Batman with that Batmobile. But we see Hawks is alive. After all his serious burns, he has on some kind of breathing apparatus. So it comes like from here and goes right around his head, and there's two tubes like hair and maybe going after his nose like so. But so yeah, he's with Best Genius, and basically he's telling him about his childhood in a sense. And he mentions that Best Genius mentions that Hawks was lucky to survive. That with those burns he could have died if they didn't get help sooner. And we also get them saving a bunch. Well, I wouldn't say a bunch of people, but there's this little gang of hooligans causing chaos, and we see I think it's called the Glutton God Gang. So Bashina stops them with his Batmobile. He shoots out like cables from the hood of the car. It's a Batmobile. He does a Batman shit, and he wraps them up, um, and stops them. And in doing so, he comes out and he says that how come he asks the people then how come there's so much gang violence and villains coming out here like small crimes happening here, and we get that basically a lot of the police quit after the war, and a lot of heroes from the negative feedback from the civilians just basically gave up on being heroes, or some of them maybe were scarred after this war from the losses, so they basically quit. But Gina said he'd send some of his sidekicks to patrol the area and keep it safe. But in doing so, we see a guy in the crowd. We get a glimpse of like his arm, and from like here is metal, and he's holding it, and he basically says like, "What's the point of heroes?" In essence, um, who needs that? So I'm guessing there's still some negativity towards heroes after the war and all the deaths and casualties, because we get a small panel and we see some civilians rejoicing that he was that um genius stopped the gang, but we see some people with like angry expressions on their face, or like expressions on their face. So yeah, they kind of still maybe have that resentment towards them after all this chaos. So yeah, um, we then get a bit more information with regards to the death of the death of Best Genius. We see that basically he was in a state of death, and it was due to the normal experiments that they were doing before. They did something similar to kind of put Hawks did this to put Best Genius in some form of suspended animation, kinda. So they didn't use a fake body um, when Hawks carried it to show Darby to get recruited. We see that it wasn't a fake body, it was actually the real genius that he used with this method. So that is why he was able to get through, because Darby did actually test to see and confirm if it was the real genius. So that was cool. Maybe we'll get more information on this procedure later on. But basically, Gina said that that's why he was so weak when he came back. He didn't expect that to work. We then see Hawks basically went home. Uh, he is now living, well, his mom that is. There's this big mansion basically. So we see that from the poverty that he was in to now the difference that he managed to go up in go up in well, not go up in, but what I'm trying to say. Basically, he leveled up in life from the poor home to this big, fancy, lavish, luxurious home by joining this organization. But we see that in walking through his home, his mom isn't there anymore. We see that he basically finds a letter, and his mom states that some bad guys came and they made her talk and say all about his history and his parents. So that's how Dabby got the information about him. They basically threatened his mom with all this. Um, so yeah, we see Hawks taking off his mask as well, his breathing apparatus, and basically he's remembering the first time he did a good deed, I guess, because we see a little panel of baby Hawks hugging his plushie and using his wings to save, well, his feathers to save people in an accident. And basically we get like a little monologue now with him stating that his origin put Endeavor in trouble. So um, we see a little flashback with, not a flashback, but like a tiny panel with Shoto as well. So my thing is, I think that when there is finally a rematch with all the villains, if Hawks does get his wings back, because I'm not sure if he will, because Darby did burn off his back. Um, I think maybe it would be a 2-on-1 where Hawks may lead the charge against Darby with Shoto and maybe give him some form of support. Or maybe this is setting up something where maybe Hawks dies. Or Endeavor does die next time he fights him, and this puts Hawks in a state of mind to actually go over Darby, go after Darby personally, maybe. But yeah, it was basically a Hawk centric chapter. We got his backstory, we got his life, kinda. So more setup, more aftermath of the war, seeing how the humans, not humans, but more of the normal population reacting after this. Still no Shigaraki. I don't know what they're going to do with the villains, because I would have expected maybe them after the war to seize Japan, since they were basically in charge after that by breaking out all these villains. So it's kind of iffy to see where it's going, but basically, manga is slowly coming down to the end of this arc. Um, I can't say this is the end of the arc because we're still getting stuff after it, so I believe we're slowly going down before we jump into the next arc. So yeah, um, don't forget we have the new season as well coming out in a few months. I can't remember the exact date, but in a few months we're getting the new season 5. I believe season 5 is going to focus on the arc with Deku getting his spoiler new power, and it may end at the end of the Shigaraki arc, which is basically My Villain Academia. So yeah, I believe that's where it will end. We get Chibi Hawks, as I said in this. I'll drop a thumbnail maybe with Chibi Hawks colored, because it was black and white here. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a comment, leave a like, share please, um, subscribe please, please. Um, and yeah, let me know what you guys thought. Um, and before I go, one last thing. So I'm thinking of how I'll space out these reviews is I'll do WandaVision on Fridays, I'll do One Piece on Sundays, I'll do Black Clover on Tuesday, and I'll do My Hero on Tuesday or Wednesday. So yeah, that's basically the schedule for now. I also want to look into maybe doing some videos on solo leveling, so let me know what y'all think of that. And if there's any specific anime you want or manga you want me to check out or review or give my opinions on or thoughts or just discuss in general, be it theories or analysis, let me know in the comments below. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you again. Bye.